In order to emulate the feel of the most popular Sword Art Online videos of the era, I will not be editing visuals for this video. I hope you enjoy my immaculate gameplay of Shadow the Hedgehog Reloaded. Nah, just kidding. Anyways, hi! Spoilers for this show that everyone has probably seen already, and spoilers for the individual YouTube videos which are here presented in tier list format. You can probably tell where the script is going from this list, but as a smart person once said, you can't ignore the heart. So bear with me for a bit. I gotta set the dressing complete with rose garnish. But first, please subscribe with the bell. I work a normie job on top of this, so content can be a little scattershot upload-wise at times, so if you don't want to miss it, that's the best way. Okay, self-promo over. Time to promote someone else for once in my channel. Please go follow at MintShe with 4 eyes, I think. Please tell me that's right. On Twitter. Also, maybe commission her. She does amazing artwork like my new channel profile picture, and her prices are honestly such a steal for the quality. This is an amazing piece. I was more than happy to commission her for it, and just look at this thing. It's beautiful. Okay, actual video time. Forgive me, I will be committing Sudoku for wasting 30 seconds of your time. I'm gonna coin a term real quick. Reversed nostalgia. It's when you go back to something you once loved years later, and your rosy tint towards it dissolves like crumbling sugar. What was once revered turns into something now simply tolerated. Or, to put it in a way that doesn't sound like I'm still stuck in my poetry phrase, as the name implies, it reverses polarity on your nostalgic feelings. Tangible example, as a shut-in kid, I loved Sonic Adventure 2. I mean L-O-V-E-D, loved. I remember the first day I got Sonic Adventure 2. I didn't have a controller to play it with, so I just snuggled to sleep with the case like it was a plushie, and I was holding on to the promise from my mom that we'd go borrow a GameCube controller from my grandma in the morning. Better yet, when I played it, it lived up to everything I thought it'd be. Flash cut 10 years after that moment. I don't know if it was the trauma that jaded me or if the game just wasn't as good as I remember, but boy is SA2 not super good. I regret tarnishing the feelings of my past self by going back. No amount of mods or additions can make me see this thing as anything but a middling experience with some good music. Which sucks, it really does. I only vaguely recall how I felt when I got the game, and that memory of snuggling with it, I laugh at now as being a little cringy. My feelings of nostalgia are glass on the floor, and I'm still picking the pricks out. I bring this all up not only so I can get away with putting nostalgia bait PS2 ambience in the background, but because I also had the exact opposite experience recently. Something I dislike vehemently as a stupid brat suddenly became something I rather appreciated. Now, it's not good, let me make no such claim as to that, but it's not bad or the end of anime either. To put it in numbers, 7 out of 10. To accurately codify it, a rating of mild smiley face. Sword Art Online, the series that invoked in me inverse-reverse nostalgia. Watching this show back after, over a decade, left me wondering if my opinions from back then were something I came to entirely on my own. I put down that Sonic-flavored rose garnish to illustrate that I think feelings can get painted over with time. A phenomena I think extends to both internal changes and external forces. Back when I played SA2 as a kid, I know for a fact I had seen multiple videos on how it was the best game ever made. The original Brain Scratch LP on it even starts with them all agreeing on that. Brain Scratch being a channel that was my favorite as a kid. It had Some Call Me Johnny on it. Love that guy, still watch his vids to this day, so, I'd be negligent to say that it, and many other videos, didn't influence me back then. When I went back to the game, funnily enough, it was a bit after Brain Scratch did their new LP of SA2 where everyone was hating on the thing. That, and an influx of negative Sonic Adventure 2 videos at the time, probably tailored my disposition to be more negative, though I'd like to think I have my own opinions now. Similarly, in the year 2016, a few years after my initial Sword Art Online experience, every single anime YouTuber on this hell site made a negative Sword Art Online video. I mean that with little exaggeration. It was a vacuum of discourse, the biggest pissing contest AnyTube has possibly ever seen. And it's easy to see why. Most of these videos have around 1 million views individually, and for most creators, it's some of the best performing content they ever had. These videos, beat for beat, consider SAO to be one of the worst anime to ever exist, a symbol of mediocrity in a declining industry, a beacon of vapid consumerism that only brain-dead cumlins could enjoy. If you think that's an unfair characterization, I have the videos I'm talking about linked in the description. I will always do my best to not do bad faith criticism, so please do prove blurry. The only thing I truly know about Sword Art Online in regards to my first watch was that I didn't want to stay up till 3 AM to watch it once it got to the Death Gun arc, and that Kirito's voice felt extremely off in the English dub. So, I eventually chose sleep over peak. As a result of this, and also watching it on the most tired brain imaginable because Toonami had some whack-ass scheduling, I had a vague idea of SAO in my brain, like I'm willing to bet a lot of other people in my age range did. Years passed and I let YouTubers fill in the lost gaps. I didn't bother to actually go back and watch the show. Some of the people I was watching at the time were really smart, in their own words. And I wanted to be smart too. They said it wasn't worth my time and they critiqued it so heavily, so how could it possibly be enjoyable? Additionally, being reactionary and saying this is bad and sucks and its fans should probably kill was fun, even if not correct. Playing into that mentality also tends to be profitable too, especially if it becomes a movement of sorts. Groupthink is a hell of a drug you can only take en masse and amplify to the extreme. I want to make it clear, I'm not blaming anyone for capitalizing on making a video. God knows I want more money from this work too. My issue is with most of the analysis being cheaply made garbage. To contextualize the situation to those of you who might be younger, this would be the same time frame as me right now today, making a video on the Promised Neverland or Shield Hero where I don't hold back with the punches, and even the slightest animation hiccup is on the chopping block. These, like Sword Art Online, were immensely popular gateway anime, but no one but the minority of diehard fans have seen them since their release. That being the case, to achieve mass appeal, all I'd have to do is basic plot synopsis while making a lot of surface level arguments that'd make it sound like I'm tearing down the proverbial Jenga tower. Most people aren't going to go watch the show to fact check me either. After all, I just gave a synopsis. Why watch what you just heard? In this way, the audience would already feel learned on the issue, and I can build from there. It's genius from a video making perspective to do this, but it can lead its way into being disingenuous fairly easily. Again, no one has seen the show in a hot minute, so what if I fudge a few details to make my point stronger? Who's gonna notice? Especially if my argument centers around one scene or line. It's so obvious to check, but that makes it all the more credible that I'd be arguing in good faith, wouldn't it? After all, it'd be really easy to check me, but no one will because of just that. All veneers off, I hope this doesn't sound like I'm reaching, because this literally happens in all of the videos I watched. Misinformation comes in small fractals in these things, but it is rampant to an insane degree. I promise I'll explain myself in a bit when I start gouging out the heart of some of these videos. But TLDW, take no YouTuber's opinion seriously but me, because I am always correct. Everyone else is evil and lying to you, but you can trust me. I promise. I know this might sound crazy given the last paragraph, but let's look at SAO synopsis style. I said it's easy to misconstrue information, and this is ultimately tinted with my lens of personal truth, but a baseline is important for some of the stuff I want to share with you all. However, if you recently rewatched the show, congratulations, you get the fast pass. Here's your timestamp. But if you haven't, then hear me out, because I'm about to break this show down like you've never heard it before. I don't think it's all shite after all. No, I think it's more brap than crap. Hell yeah, nuance baby, let's go. Sword Art Online is a story about a guy who does some stuff in a virtual reality world where you can't log off, and if you die in the game, you die for real. And someone made a comparison to the movie Scanners in a video once, a movie I've never seen and a video I can't find anymore, where the head explosion thing was pretty cool. Anyways, this guy? He goes on some adventures with various women, some hotter than the others, in the first half of the show, and then settles down with Asuna, who's neat, but gets all of her characterization later. She's just kind of there in the first half. They kind of have an AI kid who saw in them a beacon of hope in a world where people were constantly driven to do awful things. Why did Yui notice them and pick them out? Well, they're pretty high-level players. They stand out. It isn't because, they were the only two happy people in SAO. Yui does some cool stuff with her AI powers, and Kirito puts her into a little crystal for snackies later. Kiritsuna then go fight the guy. They win through the power of sheer human will and ingenuity, overpowering the systems because their emotions are just that strong. It's like Gurren Lagann mixed with Dot Hack, but when those two shows do their thing, everyone thinks it's cool. Close curtain on the first half. Then the second half of the show happens, a portion which, despite popular belief, is a part of Season 1 and follows up on plot beats brought up in the Aincrad arc. It's like poetry, they rhyme. In this section of the story, the fairies have a dance, but in a sibling way. I mean, non-incesty way. Asuna's family is also revealed to be kinda full of the worst people imaginable, literally selling her body to some creep because it's financially advantageous. The fuck? Anyways, Kirito steals Zack's flow from Crisis Core and takes out the rapey Kawahara villain. Cut to an actually kinda tense fight in the real world, and both parties are now free from their full dive VR nightmare daydream. Structurally, it's pretty okay, but it flounders a bit. Well, a lot, actually, but that's fine because it gets expanded upon later in a really compelling way. It's like One Piece, where it's constantly building upon itself arc by arc, but also if One Piece was remotely interesting. That was the Spark Notes of the Spark Notes, but that's SAO. This isn't in-depth, this is just meant to refresh your memory before we continue. I'll hit on more specifics later, but for now, let's get into something which I actually care about. Weird development details and semantical adaptation issues. I've said bear with me a bunch in this video, but once more, I promise you this flows very naturally into actual critique of the quality of all those old SAO videos. More importantly though, I kinda just want to talk about it because I will probably never make another Sword Art Online video unless something wacky happens. And details like this are something I get weirdly passionate about. SAO was started in 2002 as a web novel, with the first arc, Aincrad, being released to Reki Kawahara's website. Originally, he wrote it for some local creative writing contest, but went way over the word count, so he just tossed it up on his website. You have to understand, all the good Japanese artists from back then had websites. It's actually a really interesting culture. Maybe one day, maybe one day. Anyways, the contest itself and the website don't matter. The point with bringing this up is that SAO was initially written extremely hastily and without much revision. Also probably off a bender of alcohol in the Dot Hack series, but that's just speculation. A hack author inspired by the Hack series. I'm sorry. The first two volumes of SAO, what comprises the Aincrad arc, was very fragrantly inspired by contemporaries, Slapshot, and by Kawahara's own admittance, not his best work. The reason we have him on record saying that was that when it was up for adaptation 10 years later in 2012, he went back to his original novel and freaked out because he thought it was hot fucking garbage. If you have the time, read the afterword of SAO Progressive. It is enlightening to know that Progressive only exists because Kawahara literally agrees with most of the critiques levied towards his work. All this in mind, you know what's wild? The anime somehow managed to mangle an already squirted out story more, particularly with Aincrad. See, the novel doesn't go in sequential order, and the anime bending over backwards to make it do that leads to some kind of whacked out nothing burger plot beats. The biggest example of this is literally the protagonist for the show. Kirito is shown as being distrusting of people and wanting to avoid team-ups for a long time. But see, the story starts in media res in the novel. We're never told why that is, and it comes across as especially odd because he was shown teaming up with Asuna on the first floor just fine. However, once the story gets to the boss fight on the 43rd floor, that's the 9th episode for those of you who aren't autistic, where people start dropping like flies, Kirito has a Shadow the Hedgehog moment. He recalls the guild he joined early on where everyone died horribly, and how that made him play solo from then on because he felt responsible for their deaths, just like he feels responsible for the deaths in front of him now. The anime places this in episode 3, whereas the novel timeline would be more around episode 9. This might seem like an innocuous change, but it does have ramifications on a lot. The Sachi episode as is kind of bad, kind of the worst episode in the Aincrad arc. Makes me wonder why Jeff Thu said it was one of his favorites. Sachi and company aren't meant to be characters. They're meant to be a reveal as to why Kirito is the way he is. In the anime, it's an event that happens and is maybe alluded to once again. Additionally, it further makes no sense because Kirito has a big MGTOW moment at the end of episode 2, and then immediately goes to join a guild next episode, which... why? There's no through line. It is extremely jarring, and it makes sense to me why people watch the rest of the show with incredibly bad faith based on that alone. Which is funny, because it's just a product of some botched adaptation. As it is in the anime, Sachi and the others are some of the most shallow characters in the entire series. That's including some background characters. They have about 1 million death flags, and their inclusion makes the show feel like it's trying to ingrain people die. This show is deep. Now, I'm not expecting anyone to have a knowledge on the fucking novels when they're making an SAO video. That's entirely unreasonable. But it's important to me to illustrate that SAO Season 1 is just a bunch of bones. Novels aside, even in the anime, there are still things that are tangible and real. It is, in fact, a story with connecting parts most of the time. You can agree or disagree on its quality, but the structure is there. There are very few of what I would call asspools. Like, legitimately. The way people critique the show kind of bugs me because it feels like we watched 2 entirely different anime. They watched some curse shit, but what I saw was just average. Nothing noteworthy, though I am excited and have been elated thus far to see where it goes. Seriously, this is a total side tangent, but I just finished Mother's Rosario, and goddamn what a good arc. Even in Season 1, it was something that kept my interest enough to actually continue it, something I can't say for a lot of anime. Again, the show builds upon itself in this really cool way. Tangent over, in spite of its rocky start, Season 1 of SAO is pretty alright. As a matter of fact, my take on this series is largely the same as what was shown in Gigguk's first video on the thing. See, I told you that whole tangent would transition smoothly, because I wrote it in advance. Gigguk has mastered the art of mass appeal. I say we have the same take on SAO only because everyone else could say the same. His initial video on it, released as the series was coming out, is the most inoffensive thing I think I've ever watched. Literally, there were some good things, some bad things, but overall, we'll have to wait and see. Also, coffee soda. I'm so sorry, I don't know why I added that stupid f***ing accent, but we're sticking with it, alright? There are no clear opinions in this video. If you come in with a positive disposition, you will think it's glowing. Likewise, if you think the show is cringe, blue pill garbage, you can maliciously lick your lips and think to yourself how much Bestie G is gonna hate it later. To Gigguk, the only way to win in the market of opinion is not to play. It's amazing. I should honestly learn from it instead of digging in my heels at every opportunity. But it doesn't exactly make for the best review, if you catch my drift. The Gigguk section of this video is only short because there's not too much to say. Other than this, even beyond the sword art videos he's done, Gigguk is a masterclass in the art of mass appeal. Man is the personification of the majority of the anime community. To home back in, you can see this with his videos on SAO. Initial ambivalence towards the series until his second video released in 2016. The one titled SAO in 5 minutes. The mission statement of that video being, roll dice with the culture, make a joke, laugh, and the money will roll right in. This video only exists because it was popular to hate on SAO during this time. You can say I'm arguing in bad faith with that, but nothing can convince me otherwise considering how regurgitory some of the lol SAO bad talking points are within it. Unlike some of his contemporaries, however, at least Gigguk does something interesting with it. Even if the type of Reddit bait humor isn't for me, like, at all. Literal Kai abridged in SAO form. As a piece of media, I gotta give it props though, honestly. It's glib in its delivery, so if you like the series, you can take the critiques in stride. Yet, it's brutal at the same time, so, well, just like with his initial video, if you hate the series, well, congratulations, you also win. It's simply amazing, though clearly the point is to like shit on SAO. If you want a good idea of what it was like in the community at the time, just go watch the SAO in 5 minutes video. My biggest praise of it in particular is that it makes the same points everyone else did in about a fifth of the runtime, while appealing to literally everyone else in the process. I'm sorry to keep harping on this, but I swear to God, if you told me Gigguk went to school in business marketing, I'd believe it in a heartbeat. This thing is like a PragerU video, but not advocating for my death. I could spend an hour dissecting it, but it'd be a fruitless effort, particularly because there is a wealth of videos surrounding it that I can point to as the progenitor of the SparkNotes talking points within. Gigguk's video is like the zip file, so let's extract this bitch and get to the contents of the folder. This one's going to be a bit longer. Second up to bat, the Lesser Golden Witch. Hi. In spite of the immaculate joke that I opened up this video with, I am extremely tired. I have been editing this video, working on it for like the better part of a month now, so yeah, the rest of this video is just going to be footage of the game Fate Extra, a video that I meant to get out in February. I put out a teaser for it in a video I made in January, and now that teaser looks real fucking stupid, doesn't it? So I'm going to be putting relevant PNGs and other such files, other such wacky clips and whatnot, you know, when they're needed, when they're relevant to the video. This isn't going to be a Trixie ordeal where I just like slap gameplay over it, but I want this video done. I am so tired of working on this video. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best videos I've ever made, but I think about every video I make, let's be honest. But yeah, hi, Interlude Sleepy. I haven't been on camera in like months. I changed my hair color. Hi, how are you? How are you all doing? I'll save you the nitpicky nonsense and just send you back to the video. Bye! Trixie, or the gal who used to be known as Digibros, vid leaves me just the slightest bit conflicted. This video was clearly never meant to blow up like it did. She did better edited videos before and after this one, and I mean that in terms of both visuals and script. Her insinuation that it was done this way due to copyright is fine, I guess, but there's not so much as a PNG thrown on screen. This video also sounds like it was a one-shot recording and Trixie watched the show on 2x speed because she outright gets multiple details wrong. Feels more stream of consciousness than an actual structured essay. To be fair, that's how a lot of video essays start out, but this just feels squirted out with minimal revision or care for how it came together. It's given the illusion of structure with it being segmented how it is, but it's just that, an illusion. Also, this is a total side tangent, but I will burn on embers before I let this go unsaid. Trixie does this thing that basically every video about SAO would proceed to rip off for some reason. She makes a shitty Plinkett impression, and I hate it. If you don't know who Plinkett is, God, I envy you. But he made some videos about the Star Wars prequels way back when YouTube was just starting, and Trixie is emulating for a single sentence what he sounded like the entire time. I don't know if the Plinkett videos are actually good because I can't get past 3 seconds. Saying your points in a retarded voice doesn't make what you're critiquing sound worse. It just makes you sound retarded. But for an example of what I mean by slapshot critique with regards to Trixie though, let's look at when she talks about the ending of the Aincrad arc. specifically with Kirito figuring out that Heathcliff is Kayaba. Trixie states that this is an ass pull, but having watched the series at normal speed, it actually does make some sense with some basic critical thinking skills and, you know, what the show puts on screen. Here's some basic knowledge we need to put the puzzle pieces together. This one's a real thinker. 1. Kirito only has dual wielding as a skill because he has the best reaction time in the game. Why? I don't know, that's an actual ass pull by the story. Anywho, because of his reaction time, he noticed some funky stuff when he fought Heathcliff in an earlier episode that didn't add up. He wrote it off in that episode as it just being a little goofy woofy fucky wucky, but you can see him in that very scene looking weirdly at Heathcliff afterwards. Hashtag subtle storytelling. Taking that in combo with Heathcliff's health never dropping during a fight that left everyone in critical condition, and also Kirito seeing that Yui, the AI with the immortal object flag whose health also never fell below the same threshold Heathcliff's is at during this scene, and I don't know, I can accept him feeling a little weird about the circumstances. Especially with the immortal object prompt being something that Kirito saw in the episode right before this. None of what I just brought up is directly told to you in the scene, hence why I don't think it was brought up by Trixie, but it is something that is important to the story. This kind of thing is all over her video, and it's a semantic argument, sure, but this is a House of Cards kind of thing. I've been hinting at it for a while, but the main problem with going episode by episode like Trixie and other analyzers do is that you can very easily get insane tunnel vision. I mean, I just brought up how Trixie didn't even think about what had just been shown in the last episode before the Heathcliff reveal. These things happen when you're going in on a work bit by bit. Now, there is merit to critiquing things down to the bone. However, you have to look at the full picture at the same time. I'm not trying to throw stones from a glass house. This is something I've absolutely done myself, and I fully acknowledge that. It's the easy way of writing analysis. You write out points, a little bullet list while you're watching or experiencing something, and then you take those points and convert them into a script. You trim the fat a little bit, and boom, it's done. It's easy. You add an intro and conclusion, that's all there is to it. That process has a lot of benefits, but don't ignore the drawbacks. This is why revision is the most important part of making something. Also my personal favorite aspect of making stuff. You have your points down and somewhat fleshed out, but it's not quite there. During a revision, you can not only look at the work more clearly, but also your own interpretation of it. How do the parts in your script or book or whatever connect? Does it flow like death on the sticks? Or is it just your stream of consciousness arbitrarily segmented into chunks? With just the absence of proper revision in Trixie's script, this level of reasoning is possible for Sleepy Crest. What do you think, everyone? Brain rot aside, perhaps I'm being too harsh, but Trixie's, and by extension most SAO vids for that matter, are filled with fallacies like that. Just little holes that don't line up with the blocks being placed. In the same part of the video as the Heathcliff reveal, Trixie says that it's the final floor of Aincrad, but it's not. Additionally, she talks about Kirito saving Yui in the prior episode in the context of the characters being these, like, unfeeling dolls. That if Kirito had access to the system, he should have turned the logout function back on. Like, sure, you can argue that, but at the same time, that's just ignoring the heart. Kirito is frantically trying to get his surrogate daughter back. You'll have to forgive him a little bit. Last one, I swear, but Trixie goes on for a bit about Asuna being the best developed character in the Aincrad arc, and Jesus, her ass was not reading. This isn't even up for debate. Asuna is barely more than a template in Aincrad. Kawahara hadn't awakened to feminism in 2002. Asuna is little more than woman in SAO1, let's be real. And I mean that in the most negative way possible. She cooks, provides support, and has a brief allusion to something else going on in her life to keep her superficially engaging. It's given expansion in a beautiful way later, but Trixie never watched later. Yet she talks about Asuna as if she did, as if she had some strange insight onto her. Which confuses me, because Asuna is one of the biggest points of critique you could have with the show. Like, legitimately. I literally found Silica and Liz more interesting as characters, and they have one episode of pop. Asuna has some more breadcrumbs later on in Fairy Dance, but it's still odd because Trixie writes as if she's not even taking that into account during her deconstruction of Aincrad. I think Trixie liked Asuna because Asuna fights. Which is a fine opinion to have, I just think it's a bit of a shallow one. There's something especially funny to me about taking this very vapid statement, this very vapid character, and wrapping it up as, oh no, the most interesting character in the show is dying. Ergo, my interest in the show is dying. Some of the points I brought up you can argue as being very superficial, however, and again, House of Cards argument. There are so many little things in this video that are just wrong, and it's especially infuriating to me because this video, more so than any others, as much as I hate to say she's right, did influence the vast majority of Sword Art Online videos that would come out in 2016 onwards. Like, it is a vacuum of discourse surrounding basically just this video. I could go through this video point by point and deconstruct every little thing. But honestly, those types of videos bore me to tears. I want to use this as a jumping board for talking about anime analysis as a genre. I think this video and those like it from around the same era set kind of a weird precedent going forward. Maybe I'm just seeing things or not in touch with the space as a whole, but this era of content created a weird culture of territorial pissings, where people who are making analysis videos about any given work, it doesn't have to be SAO, had the tendency to grasp at straws and mischaracterize certain things to fit the narrative they were going for. And on the other side of the spectrum, people who were praising a work and fighting back against this had to acknowledge little to no criticism as a valid one. In this day and age, a lot of videos follow Trixie's lead, cut nothing out, and as a result are all 4 hours long with usually nothing substantial enough to justify that length. See, I don't think this is a problem that's ever actually gone away. It was bad in anime analysis for a long time, but anime analysis is kind of a dead genre, 1, but 2, no, this extends to the medium as a whole. The Plinkett voice is gone, the editing might be a bit better if you're lucky, but this issue has festered in the modern day. Best of all, if it's not either of those videos, then it's the initial one we started with, Gigguk's first video on SAO. A video that doesn't really say anything, but appeals to everyone. 3 schools of thought. Don't play, thing good, thing bad. But here's a 4th that'll get people on every side of the spectrum mad at you. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can critique things you love. I mean, hell, that's all my channel has strived to be. I'm not meaning to be like self-conflagelatory, but I've made critical videos on things I love, but it's never been one-sided. Vice versa, I've made videos on things I hate while also acknowledging their good points, a la Sai no Uta. Points that also aren't just pulled out of a hat because I purposefully misread something. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal or anything. This video has been a clusterfuck, and I know I could be a lot better in terms of content. I just kinda wish more videos were well thought out. Ultimately, this whole video making thing is all good fun, and all creators should be having fun. But I think there's still a need to talk about it if the bad faith arguments have been propagated like this. I don't know, I got like just under 4K subs, and this is a video I have no clue if it'll even appeal to most of my subscribers. The reach on this is probably dead on arrival, but I think I'll have some hope. If like one person comes away with actually thinking about the content they consume on this site, I will have one, even if you entirely think I am a wrong, bitchy little cunt. I'm not trying to do the little leftist meme of be better when I want to say kill yourself, but seriously, I just want to watch better videos. I spend hours in bed at night just scrolling through my phone because I like to put on YouTube videos as white noise. I've turned to watching fucking Vosh streams because I just can't find any good analysis videos. If you have any good like channels that do good analysis or anything like that, please just recommend them in the comments. Just please. It's been so long since I've seen a good analysis video and it's driving me insane. I just have to keep making them myself. Anyways, analysis videos like Trixie's are a vacuum of discourse. One bubble at a time with no connection to future plot points. Just fine if you're looking at a single episode or something, specifically like the first episode. But it falls apart because there's hardly an anime out there that wouldn't fall apart if you judge its plot based entirely on a set of 24 minutes. Unless it's like an OVA or something, but don't be a semantical asshole. Of course, threads aren't going to tie up their seeds to sow in another episode, or in the case of SAO and stuff like Asuna, especially in another arc. I think one should simply assemble the whole picture when they're making a video like this, like a 1-hour video that's a takedown of a show. I don't think vids like Trixie's are made with any malcontent, but they sure as hell could be a lot better. For what they are, I do think most videos like this are nice to fall asleep to, though. Like I just said, please recommend me more analysis content. I am in a desert. Also, Trixie did make some good critiques throughout this video. I'm not going to break them down because that's not really the point of this project, but I would be amiss to say that there weren't a few in there. Even if they are brain dead levels of obvious, like, what do you know? Tentacle sexual assault is bad when it exists for legitimately no reason. Especially when it's fucking superimposed with the Sugaha and Kirito's conversation about their sibling relationship and how they need to teeter that off. Who the f was directing this stuff? You know, kind of on the topic of the tentacle scene, stuff like that are real sticking points for SAO. You know, to most people at least. Sword Art Online has some glaring, obvious warts that make it easy to exploit for a video or two. I've talked about 4 trains of thought up until now, but what if we flip the whole board over? The only way to win is to make money. Yeah, money. I love money. This video is brought to you by my Patreon. Buy videos from me. I can't promise you when they'll come out, but they will come out just like I did to my family. After weeks of putting it together in my head, only to make insane progress on it in one day, vibing off of 2 energy drinks at 4 in the morning. The utmost quality only I can provide. Do it. I want money. Someone please give me a sponsorship. Crunchyroll manga gamer. I make videos about visual novels and anime. Hit me up. Please. I have no real way to transition out of that. So there's one section left of this video, and it's going to be the most complainy one. I hate the channel Mother's Basement. I have no other way to start this section. Jeff Thu is the professional AniTuber I both hate and admire the most in this world. I gotta commend him for making the big bucks. I mean, I just went on the spiel. If I had the same opportunity, I would also sell out to the extreme. There is some implicit jealousy somewhere in my heart. There is bias badgering about in my skull. Take that into account when I speak the words I am about to. Jeff's videos are the ultimate example of how to purposefully misconstrue an even slightly vague point brought up in a show into the most bad faith interpretation for the sheer purpose of financial gain and nothing else. There are so many Mother's Basement videos on Sword Art Online. It is maddening to go through them. I just stopped after a certain point because all of the videos were the same. In Jeff's initial video on Sword Art Online, the What's in an OP, I realized something immediately. He had 3 minutes of points. 3 minutes. 3 minutes of points about how the opening for SAO didn't correlate to like the quality of the show. It didn't reveal anything about the show. You know, it's just visually it's not a good opening, but it has some good music. He had 3 minutes of points like that. That, by my estimation, what I can recall off the top of my head, is a 10-minute video. Jeff only ever had 3 minutes of points when it came to SAO, and yet there is a playlist. He's made multiple hours of Sword Art Online content. It is the most prolific content about this show that exists online, and it's sad because it's not very good. It really, really isn't. For an example of what I'm talking about, and ironically we have to go back to the Yui scene, in one of Jeff's videos, it's like, when did SAO become bad or something? And the point of it is that like Yui being crystallized into like a little ball, to like a little crystal, is bad because it sets the precedent for death not to mean anything in the show. Which bothers me because Yui is an AI. This is never even brought up as a counter argument in his video. Yui is an AI, an artificial intelligence. She's not a human. Everyone else has the possibility to die, but Kirito could save her and be dead. Like, that video is like 40 minutes long, and it's all propagated on that one point, but it's never brought up that Yui is an AI. Of course she can come back. Like, she is real, but she's not real, if you know what I mean. And like, it's just so bad. I haven't written anything out for this portion of the video, if that's obvious, because like, the best way to talk about Mother's Basement is to just complain. Just what I'm doing. I don't like these videos, you know? I talked about that implicit bias, it's there. but they're just really bad videos. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to go through them and break them down point by point because they're maddening to watch. Everything brought up in these videos is just the most bad faith argument imaginable. It's just a vapid discourse that is well edited to keep you engaged, but it's just so brain dead at its points. And getting mad at it, eliciting a reaction and making a video response to it just propagates the cycle. It just makes more people go watch the videos to see how bad they are. Or conversely, it just makes more people go and support the videos, go give them a rewatch. I'm not like legitimately angry. I'm not sitting over here in my chair in my big robe at 6 in the morning seething over this. But it is bothersome to me. This video exists because I watched SAO with my friend, and I recalled the entire time, not Trixie's video, not Gigguk's video, but I recalled the Mother's Basement videos on SAO, and how basically everything in them was bad. Literally, I don't know, I don't have any better way to put it. It was just bad. You know, I'm not really making a point right now, and I'm sorry for this part of the video being like this, but sincerely, like, go back and watch those videos after watching this, or preferably after, you know, actually watching the show. And please, I hope I'm not crazy in saying this. It's just incredibly bad faith arguments. Jeff doesn't have enough points to make the videos that long. It is, you know, those 4-hour video essays that I brought up earlier? It's like that, but like Jeff's 40-minute videos feel somehow longer. I don't know if it's just because I know SAO and it's something like I'm invested in at this point because, you know, I've played every route in Shadow the Hedgehog. I always get invested in stuff to the extreme, but just geez. I'm not sure if I'll go back and actually rewrite this section of the video, if I'll just call it here. I legitimately have nothing else to say about Mother's Basement. Jeff Thu makes bad videos. Please save me from this hell. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Patreon.com/sleepy_crest. Please go give me money and I'll make you a video probably more structured than this one. I am so tired. I've been working on this video for like a month. It was not meant to be this monstrous beast of a project that it is. It's supposed to be like a quick little 10-minute video I made about like hey, Mother's Basement bad, but then I started like doing a ton of editing for it. I started doing it portion by portion in a new editing style, which I don't think I'll ever do again because, Jesus. I hope this isn't as disjointed as I think it is. I'm going to try and salvage this bitch in editing, but god damn, this video is a monster. This video is a monster. It's been fun to make, don't get me wrong, it's been incredibly fun to make, but it spiraled out and kept going, and I just want to end it. I don't want to write anymore. I don't want to say anymore. I just want it to end. Bye. But I hope y'all have a good one. I'm gonna go work on a video that won't take this long, hopefully. Alright, y'all take care. Bye-bye.